Good. I guess it's afternoon for me now. Afternoon, ladies and gents. Today is Saturday, 3rd of October. There we go. I had to check. I kind of lose track of things sometimes. Man. So we made a lot of progress yesterday, specifically along the lines of getting attacking working. And getting dodging and all those other kind of pieces of the puzzle put into place. Today is not much different. Specifically, the big thing here is we're going to add more to combat. We're hopefully going to make it a little more interesting. I've got some effects I want to add in. I've got some more player actions I want to add in. I'm kind of looking at my to-do list here. I have a whiteboard that side of me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep blinding you guys with the out of doors that is behind me. That wild place that we don't really go out. At least us programmers. Oh, stamina usage was a big one. Also, critical hits would be cool. Figure out how those work. Don't mind me just opening a drink as quietly as I can, which means you guys get to hear the clunk of me popping a can open. Sometimes you need a little sugar to keep the brain going. So, yeah, just to show off kind of what we have, too. Also, I really need to redo some of this UI. Specifically, the big pieces of the puzzle here are, let's just add some components here real quick, just so I can read things. Because it is really, really annoying that I can't actually read my own UI. Like, it bothers the heck out of me. Specifically, let's see here, if I zoom out a ton and hit 2D, you'll note that it's just like dark text right now. And I want that white outline so I can at least see what I'm looking at. I mean, it's not too much to ask to be able to read your own UI, right? I hope. Let's see if I can do this for a bunch of characters at once. Or a bunch of components at once, because that would make my life easier, as always. I am all about making my own life nice and easy. Cool. Can I change all their colors at once? It looks like. Oh, I missed a piece. I missed the character name. Name. Whoops, not energy bar. Name. Cool. I like being able to read things. It's helpful in game programming to not strain your eyes a ton. And this is one way to help white outlines on dark text. So now we hit play. And you can actually read his name and the cleric's name, even though their names and numbers aren't exactly contrasting with the background otherwise. And we can walk into a scripted fight. I added dodging in my own time. I needed to figure out, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to get dodge to work. Because dodge isn't an action per se. When I tell my characters to dodge, I don't want them. Ooh, that was a close one. Oop, he took the hit anyway. And, nope, the mage took the hit anyway. Dodge is weird because it's more like a condition, right? You say, I am dodging. And it doesn't matter what order your action is. They should start dodging from the first moment you click that button. So it was like a condition. And that's how I ended up coding it, is the same way you can fall unconscious or be poisoned or any other condition. We went so far as to say, well, dodging is another condition. It's something that, maybe it's not afflicting you the same way a poison or a disease might, but it is modifying this character in general for the duration of this turn. And then at the end of the turn, we just remove the dodge flag from everybody. And it just kind of makes life a little easier. So if I hit dodge now, miss means they would have missed regardless of whether you were dodging. And you'll note that some of these are hitting anyway, and that dodged means that not only did it not... So that was a hit in which the dodge pushed the AC above the swing of the monster. So that was actually an avoided attack. And I want that information to be obvious. I want it to be clear that if the monster misses, it's because they missed or because you dodged the attack. That little extra pushed you that distance to make sure you didn't take the damage. It's a nice touch. at least in my opinion, because now when somebody hits dodge, you know it's effective or not. And we can fight back and beat up things. And you can kind of note there's this like interesting mismatch of, mage is getting low on health. There's an interesting order of operations now. The rogue is actually fast enough that it goes first, but then all the bats go after. So yeah, combat is, okay, it's a binary choice now. Do I attack? Do I dodge? Right? It's not the greatest thing, because obviously having a spellcaster in a party that can't cast spells is not terribly great. Especially when things like that happen and suddenly your mage is at 1 health. And when your rogue can't hit bats, bad things happen. Oh, see that dodge right there? He's at 1 health. He just dodged an attack. Like, that's tension right there that the player really will feel when they start diving into some of this. Like, knowing that you made the right choice that caused that defense. Oh, and now he's dead. But no, we don't have a death state for our mage, right? If I click through, you'll actually see he's still on the list of people who can act. So we need to take care of that right now. That's, I think, the top thing on my list is player characters dying. Because, that needs to be put in. Otherwise, there's no consequences. Without consequences, there's no conflict. And the game's just, like, generally uninteresting. Anyway, I don't need to push through the rest of combat here. It's kind of obvious what continues to happen. We beat the bats into submission and then could, continue to walk around the terrain. Obvious, simple stuff. So let's add death. Death seems kind of important. Let's get rid of Steam too so I don't get distracted. So I have this kill character, but I don't have any code in here. So we need to fix this. Specifically, let's see here. Each party member, I believe, yeah, they have access to their UI root. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, whoops, player character is the target as, whoops, come on, target as player character. So we do the type coercion to say, well, I know it's a character, but you need to cast it into the player character type. We then say, okay, the PC, he's got a UI root, and we're going to find inside of that UI root, let's see here, the UI root points at the portrait. So the entire piece. So what I need to do is find portrait background / portrait, I think is the way that needs to work. There's portrait background, there's portrait, yes. Okay, so we've got our portrait. There are a lot of things that can kill a character. Like a lot. I'm thinking that we need, first off, we need a new state called dead. Do I need this? Do I really? Let's try without it first, and then we'll apply the condition if we need it. Because we might be able to go without it, honestly. Just testing if health is less than or equal to 0 is kind of an obvious indicator of whether a player character is dead. So, okay, we deal damage, kill character comes around. If the target is a player character, you'd think that that would actually be something that the player character would take care of themselves, right? Because inside character, there's a deal damage. And that's great, and that's virtual. Oh man, I must have planned this out ahead of time. Let's see, player character, deal damage. Okay, I have an update UI in here. The other thing I need to do, let's see here. I update the UI. Okay, so the first obvious thing here is that current health shouldn't be able to go below 0. Hitting 0 is enough. You're dead when you hit 0. That's that. So we're going to take the maximum of the current health, or 0. So if you hit 0, you hit 0, and that's nice. What else? We need to switch your portrait across. That's important. And that's only something that should happen to the player character. So my only thought here is that maybe the combat UI shouldn't be the thing that's killing characters. Even though it does need some amount of character death, it should have something else in here instead. So I think, let's see, here's deal damage. So we're just going to make a new virtual function called kill character. Yeah, just so I don't have to do any of this weirdness. If it's a player character, fine, we can skip some of this. They still need to be in the initiative list, do they? If they're dead, I suppose they can come back. So I may as well leave them in the initiative list. So is this right, essentially? Is that what this comes down to? Is this correct? Yeah, so let's go target.killCharacter. And then we need to also tack in the kill character in here. What does it do? Well, normally it destroys the game object that it's attached to. It just nukes everything. Now, obviously, player character, we don't want to do that. We don't actually want to destroy all this information that we've got stored. So we're going to skip calling the base. And instead, we're going to set our portrait. So this is where we do the transform, find child. Yeah, this is the portrait background. And the reason I'm delegating this to the character instead of leaving it in the combat UI is there's a bunch of stuff that can kill characters, as I said earlier. And I want to make sure that everything that kills the character uses the same path to kill a character. So if it's killing a standard monster, we just want the monster to delete itself and we can go on our merry way. If it's killing an actual character, now we have to think a little bit more, whether it's a trap, whether it's like a poison, whether it's combat UI. There's a bunch of ways to kill a character. And so we want to make sure that we handle each of these in the same way. Otherwise, if a bug pops up in one of them, we have to go and fix the bug in all of them. And that's never really a good way to handle this. So we're going to get component. Crap, that's a raw image. Okay, cool. We've got our raw image. And we're going to take our portrait image. And for now, I'm just going to have... Here's our portrait. And our death portrait. So when we call start... I kind of want this up here as well. I don't think I need this portrait quite yet. At least not until we bring somebody back from the dead. Right? That's when we kind of start caring a lot more about some of this stuff. And we say this dot, is it texture? Yeah, it is. I just want to double check that this is right. Yes, texture is the death portrait. And that's that. That's all that happens. A character dying is honestly not a huge deal for us because it should be everything else reacting to the player being dead. So, for example, the combat UI needs to check okay, if your health is less than or equal to 0, skip this person. Like, there's nothing we can do. So let's see, if set player choice UI. Okay, so we need to check if the next player is dead, and we need to kind of loop through until we hit somebody who isn't dead. So we say while the current player choice index is less than the characters dot length, do the following. And this is actually going to be really similar to how our loop looked before. In fact, let's just for loop this with that there. And then we say, let's add one to it. Actually, plus current player choice ID. And then we do it again here. So what this is going to do is it's going to run this line when the for loop is instantiated or started. And then we're going to say, okay, if the character's current player choice ID, if your current health is less than or equal to 0, we probably are going to just skip you. You don't get to pick a new action. That's that. Otherwise, we're going to do something and break out of this loop. Finally, we need one more if statement here. We say if it's greater than or equal to the character length, this else statement can bugger off. It's process combat, and at the end of process combat, we set it back to 0. And then what I want to do, actually, I'm going to set it to -1, and then I'm going to say advance. That should do the trick. Eventually, we'll want to add a check-in here. It says, if everyone's dead, stop combat, because oops. And we'll have to figure out like a game over screen, but in the meantime, whatever. Whatever. Alright. So let's try and get our people killed. I'm trying to think of like easy ways to do this. Player character. When you get instantiated, I can't help but notice. Okay. Don't mind me, but your health is 1. By the way. Is that fine? Does that start? Yeah, everyone's got 1 health. Now I haven't set a death portrait. I actually kind of forgot to. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody's death portrait is going to be. I guess I should pull up an image for that, huh? Just maybe. Scratch. Let's see. Well, actually, first things first. Do I have a portrait I can use for that? Because I know there are zombies in here. I don't think there's a skeleton, though. Yeah, I've got a couple zombies and vampires and things, but I don't see an actual, like, skull. Because that's what I'm looking for, right? Your character is dead. Blah. Maybe that's even the noise they will make when they die. Blah. Oh god, there's always so many icons in the Lork set. I'm always a little... Okay, we got that, but that looks a little funny. I wish these were named, honestly. Also, I can't help but note that these things are monstrous. 400 by 400? Man, that's crazy big. Come on, basic skull. You'd think there'd be one in here somewhere. Aha! Oh, kinda. I like the skull that's cracked open. Maybe I'll use that for a character you can't resurrect. You took crushing amounts of damage. There's no bringing this person back. Oh, we've got the head removed from the body. I like it. Skull and bone. Decent. There's just so many of these frickin' things. I'd say these over here, but they remind me more of like tiki masks. Your goose is cooked. I will use that one. No. Ooh, okay. I like this one the best so far. 336. Because that is somewhat meaningful. It actually looks like what I'm hunting for, as opposed to a lot of these which, while they look friggin' awesome, aren't what I'm actually hunting for. You know, eyeballs are not part of what I think of when I think of death. I mean, arrow through the head signifies death, but it's a very specific kind of death. Coffin. Coffin might be decent, but we're replacing a portrait. It's an image of a head. So I kind of think I'm going to see if I can go any faster. Just scan these because there's a lot. Like, there's a lot. Come on, give me exactly what I'm hunting for. I mean, I found something close enough, so I'm happy with what I have already. The skull with a crown is a little much. The crown is overkill. Teapot. There are just some random icons in here that make little to no sense. Huh. Maybe after you resurrect somebody, they get that icon for a while. The I've patched you up, don't die again, please icon. Skull in a jar. My only problem with a lot of these is that they're stylized and don't look like just standard skull and crossbones. Okay, yeah, I like the one I saw before, this 336. That is what I'm going to use. So we drag this sucker down. I then proceed to have put it in the wrong folder. I don't know why I put it in my prefabs, but that's not where it belongs. All of you, this is your death portrait now. And just to save us a little memory space, you'll note it's capped at its 512 by 512. I don't think it'll, you know what, I don't care right now. Maybe eventually I'll turn it down in size, if only because these portraits, oops, are not that large. So let's get people killed. Okay. Of course, they have to stop dodging things. Granted, I understand that dodge, oop, there we go. So I'm noticing that I'm not seeing a new portrait here. This is our lower left portrait. And I didn't see any, yeah, portrait background, portrait. It's still an elf. Why is it still an elf? Did that function not get called? Deal damage, kill character. The combat UI should call kill character, which it should do. Is it ever calling kill character? Target.kill character. Okay. So the player character calls it, but I don't actually see the monster calling it. So that's our problem. The monsters have their own combat actions, and that is something that needs to kill. Player combat actions, where did I put that? Okay. It's right after the deal damage. Combat UI does not exist. Really? It ought to. It really ought to. Obviously now we need to jump in here and pass up this pointer. That's not the end of the world. Cool. Okay, now we can kill our characters. Or we can try. Let's just have everyone attack so they have a greater chance of getting it. Ha! Ah, there's a hit. Womp. There goes one. There goes two. And there goes 3 characters. This is the time when you know you are in bad shape. We need to, okay, we need to skip their actions if they're dead. Kind of important that the warrior does not keep attacking even after he's dead. As we process combat, if the action list, okay, there's another if here. Yeah, if the PC in question, if his current health is greater than 0, that's the only time we should actually be running his code. Otherwise, we just need to remove his action from the queue and stop caring. Let's try that again. Everybody attacks. Hey, the rogue hit, but guess what? People are dying now. Okay, so I should see whoever survives. So the cleric still attacks, but no one else should. And now it goes rogue, cleric, done. Oop, one down. Oh, why are they attacking dead people? Oh, okay, okay. We need to fix their targeting too when they're dead. There's a lot of little niggling details when somebody is dead that we need to take care of. For example, we shouldn't just pick a random character anymore. We should pick somebody who's alive. So we're going to pick a starting point. We're going to say I equals 0, I is less than the character count. But we're going to do a check in here each time. We're going to say if, oh, what do you mean I can't use I? Oh, I can't use I. Whoops. I'll use C. Actually, I'll use, no, I'll use C. I like C. For my iterators, I like to keep them short. I, index. C, character. I know it's not the greatest thing in the world to do, but because this is such a temporary variable, and it tends to be very obvious what you're doing inside of a for loop. For example, in this for loop where we use C, we're iterating over all the characters. If that's not obvious, I honestly don't know what to ask or expect as a programmer. Like, that's a scary thing. So, we have our starting point. Starting character. And that's going to be equal to a random character in our range. And actually, I'll call this the target character. Target PC. Yeah, that works. So we pick a random one, and we're essentially going to say, for each possible character, if the character is dead, we're going to keep looking. So if characters C, current health, is less than or equal to 0, I know the less than is kind of unnecessary because we capped somebody's health at 0 in terms of lowest bound. I still like to do the less than equal as a sanity thing. Just in case something happens, say for instance I forget to cap poison damage at 0, and so it keeps pulling someone negative, and combat says, well, if it equals 0, skip it. It's a good backup plan. I know my code shouldn't do this. If it does, it's not the end of the world. At least some components will continue to work. Now, so there we go. We're going to do target PC plus the offset, and then we're going to mod it against the number of characters just so we stay within our array. And it essentially just says, if a character is dead, look at the next one. Finally, on our last one, we say target PC is target PC plus C. Target PC. There we go. So now we won't target dead characters. I do want to make sure that the combat action also doesn't target dead characters, because say we kill somebody and someone else is targeting that character, we need to not only roll to the next target, but we also need to say, well, if that target is also dead, keep looking once more. I'm actually kind of tempted to write a function for this, because this seems like something I don't want in a bunch of different places, and it's very specific to Combat UI. Yeah, let's do this. We say get is it get next? It's not really get next, because it's not the next one. It's this one, or so get available player character. And here's our start index. Or the other way to do this would be not start index, but start target. That'd be a little more difficult, but not the end of the world. Let's do start index, and then we can make a wrapper for it. Yeah, that's not the worst thing I think I've ever done. So, we're going to just take this for loop that we've already written, wherever it went, and we're going to dump it into here, because that makes our life easy. So we're going to go to our start index. Let's see. And then instead of a break, we're actually going to say, so here's a return null if everything goes terrible. And here is a return characters start index plus C. Plus C, oh god, we need to do the mod, otherwise terrible things. Modded against, see, already found a bug and fixed it. And we fixed it before it bit us. And we fixed it in all places now. Because now all we have to do is this. We say, we get the target, and get available player character. Here's our target PC. Get available, or next, get available. Yeah, get available is good for now. And I don't even need this target PC anymore. This variable can disappear as well. Look at how pretty that is. We just removed a ton of code, dumped it into a function, and now we're going to use that function in a bunch of places. For example, we need to check our target. Actually, no, combat actions are good. The enemy should always have a decent combat action. And I think the players already checked theirs too. So I might not actually need to have that right now. I'll need to think about that. I'm going to leave it as is for now, but buffering, please wait. Yeah, no, I think that should be good. We'll see. Alright, let's see if this stops the enemy from attacking. Oops. From attacking dead players. Rogue attacks a bat. Oh look, he hit. That's nice, he didn't kill it. Bat kills one, bat kills another, bat misses, that's fine. I don't think the players are unfortunately going to do much with 1 health, and they're rapidly, you'll note though, they're only attacking living people. Ah, okay, we have a null check we're failing somewhere. Why are you opening another copy of Visual Studio? I have a copy right here. Process action, combat action. Okay, on line 16 of combat action. If target is null, I actually kind of want to do this in the combat UI. There we go. Much better. Keeps us from stepping into functions or starting coroutines that are completely meaningless to us. I'd rather not start a function to immediately jump back out of it. Oop. Down goes the cleric. Down goes the mage. And the warrior. Terrible luck. Terrible, terrible luck. And... okay. The game's got nothing better to do now. Sweet. So, if at the end of combat, first off, if the opponents are dead, great. If the, let's see here, bool party dead is false. Actually, no, it's true. For each character, if a single character has health greater than 0, then party dead is false, and we can break out of this loop. But, and here's the crazy part here, if the party is dead, and this should be inside an else statement, if the party is dead, we need to do something, right? Probably, okay, destroying ourselves is not a bad thing. Nuking the game object so that we can't do anything anymore is at least a good starting place. We will probably want some kind of game over screen. I don't know if I want to put together the UI for that right now, or if I just want everyone to be dead and then to call it a day on this feature. That, or I could just make the most, like, half-assed "you are dead" screen right now. And then say, oops, you're dead. And kind of leave it there. Honestly, I gotta appreciate the fact that at 1 health they managed to kill 1 monster. And you'll note that we're still locked, right? I turned off movement and I haven't turned it back on. You know what? We can do this better. We're just gonna pass the buck to someone else. Specifically, we already have this yield break statement floating around. All we have to do inside end combat is go so far as to say, if everyone's dead, we need to show an everyone is dead sign, and then go from there. Yeah, I think that's the way I want to handle this for now. I might need to make this more flexible later, but that is later, when other things that can hurt the party come onto the scene. Specifically, traps are going to be a weird one. Drinking a potion that is a poison that kills a character would be a weird one. I'm trying to think of other cases where a character can die out of combat. I mean, combat is obviously going to be like the #1 killer of characters. Don't get me wrong. Botched heal spells, that'd be hilarious and terrifying all at once. I need to heal you. You're dead. Or I need to heal me. I'm dead. Oh look, I was the last person in the party. Time to restart the game. That'd be rough. That would be incredibly rough. Also, I can't help but note that the party doesn't have an easy access for all of the characters. Really? I mean, granted, I understand that the party has the player character nodes. Yeah, whatever. I can do that. For each player character in find transform. Oh wait, no, it's get component. Get components in children. Player character. If PC.current health is less than 0, so I guess I need a boolean here. Party alive is false. If there's one person, whose health is greater than 0, party alive is true. Break out of the loop. If the party's alive, eventually we will do things like distribute loot and all that good stuff in here. Otherwise, let's just make a quick, like, you lose UI. Nope, not an empty game object. That is incorrect. Try again, Rob. I want a canvas whose contents are pretty friggin' simple. Text. Make it huge. In fact, let's make it so huge. Okay, that's too huge. 1024 is 600. Really? Wow. Closer. Honestly, I think that's the best I'm going to deal with. Let's center it. You lose. See? Told you guys it'd be simple. Let's make it red and angry looking. And, can we bold it? Ah, it's bolded. Yay. Not a raycast target. There we go. Game over. I'm tempted to put quotes around the screen, but I hate quotes in names, because then you have to do the escaping garbage for it, and I don't care for that at all. So there's our game over screen. Let's dump that into our prefab. You lose. Pretty friggin' simple. Eventually in prefabs, I'm gonna want my own, I'm gonna want my own UI to live here. Oh, did I not name this? Game over screen. Enter. Good. Game over text. Enter. Thank you. Silly thing. I can't help but note that that is still named canvas, so I'm just gonna recreate that because that's annoying. Party templates. Game over UI template. Eventually we'll add a lot more logic and prettiness and other things to that. For now, I care not. I just don't. Let's not leave that in the scene. And let's add that last bit that says, let's see, we're instantiating a game over UI template. And I think that's all we're doing. Just for kicks, because I can. Let's also, are these all, okay, these are rectangle transforms, and if I turn it off, okay, the whole thing disappears. Sweet. Okay, so I need to find the party UI, which I think I have a reference to. Apparently I don't. Really? Interesting. Okay. The party's getting a new reference. Because what the heck? Party UI root. So here's the party. Here's the UI root. And note, I keep my references and my templates separate. It's a big thing. You don't want to be instantiating references. You want to be instantiating only your templates, only the prefabs which are built to be recreated, unless you have an explicit, like, I spawn these copies of things. There we go. And just like that, you can no longer access or do anything. Game is over. You lose. Good day, sir. Rogue hits, rogue dies. Okay, these things are hitting pretty friggin' often. I guess they shouldn't be killing in one hit, so it's not a huge worry. Come on, warrior. Do your thing. Nope, he's dead. That's not bad, right? That's a good you lose. That's a good start. You can't do anything with it. You can't walk around. Combat is clearly over. But I leave the game objects on the screen so you know exactly what you lost to. Yeah, I think I like it. Let's see here. I'm just going to quickly look at the monsters, because this bat, I want to see its controller. It has a bite. It has a die. That's important. Fly forward, take damage. Interesting. Okay. I want to make use of this take damage. And okay, when it takes damage is set to true. Sweet. Player character, if I hit something, deal damage. So if I take damage, if the current health, let's see here, I need to think about this for a moment, because this could be something that I could engineer really well or really poorly. I need to add 2 animations to this system. One on damage, one on death, right? Simple things, but we want to make sure we get this right. Because you'll remember, deal damage is something both characters and monsters have. So if I add code here that says, oh, do this thing to an animator, it's not going to actually fly so well. Specifically because, well, it'll move its way over to the player character. And when the player character starts trying to play these animations, obviously bad things are going to happen. Let's make a new script, maybe? Let's see this. Let's see if I can figure this one out. I want a combat animator. You know what? Let's delete that. I want a better name. Combat animation controller. I know it's a long name. Combat. Let's drop animation to anim. Combat anim controller. Because anim and animation are pretty hand in hand. Okay, here we go. We have a couple strings. We have the on damage variable, and just on damage var, and on death var. And then, these don't even need to be public actually. This actually isn't public. This is a Unity function. On take damage, on death. And I can't spell void apparently, but that's fine. Get component in children. I'm pretty sure in children is the way I want to do this. I need the animator. Set bool on death var to true. get component children animator. I really cannot type. Set bool. There we go. On damage var. Also to true. Now, the downside to this is I don't see any way to turn it back off. When Drisco, you should make a secret boss monster that called Viod that shoots exceptions. I would be so into it. Use the 3D text component. Just have it say null reference, and it shoots that at you. Have another one that says missing component. It shoots that at you. That'd be fantastic. So I have no way to turn this off, is my problem. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to invoke something on the next frame to turn off the damage animation. Because you only need to set the variable once, luckily. Turn off damage animation. And we're going to set it in what is essentially a frame, right? Don't ask how that number is in my head, but that's at 60 frames a second. This is frame time, right? I guess if I wanted to be really tricksy, I could do that. That is going to be a frame's worth of time. Get component in children animator. Set bool on damage variable false. I'm curious if there's some way to check when an animation is complete. End of animation clip. How can I wait? There we go. People know what I want. Okay, maybe they don't. Let's try this one. Function start yield wait for animation. Animation.play queued. Ah, okay. That might be what we're hunting for here. Let's see if I can do this. Play. Okay. Play in fixed time. Play. Start playing a playable tree. State name and an int. Okay, so I don't see anything in play that is going to help us. This is using, okay, animation.playQueued. I think there's an animation attached to these guys. Let's check them for such a thing. The model has an avatar and a controller. I don't see an animation here. Can I access the animation? Ooh, I can. Oh, but it's deprecated. Okay. Rebind, recorder, reset trigger. Set time update mode, set trigger. Set vector, start playback. Sets the animator and playback. Start recording, stop. I want like an onComplete function or some kind of, whoops, some way to check essentially when an animator is done. I guess I shouldn't look up animation in Unity. I should look up animator, because those are very different objects. The animator controller asset using animation events. When Drisco is trying to tell me about things, and the I'm not actually reading chat. I need to. Careful, I can't mix Mecanum and animation. Animation refers to the legacy animation component. Now Unity uses the animator instead. So you set up a controller, then set triggers, etc. Mental is asking what deprecated means. And when Driscoll has a perfect answer, sweet. I don't even have to read my chat. Well, I should read my chat, actually, because you guys are full of great ideas. The animator component will take care of it. Yeah. I mean, I got nothing more to add. Usually, deprecated is used inside a public API to say, yeah, the function is still here, but we're phasing it out. We're leaving it here for anyone whose project exists so we don't break things, but you should stop using it soon if you are using it already, or if you're thinking about using it, don't do it. Okay, so pretty much what I'm hunting for here is I want one of these to know when it's finished so it can destroy the game object. I want an object to die when the animator says, I am done playing the on death animation. Because, note, this is kind of one way. Just mentioning. When you go from idle to die, surprise, surprise, there's no going back. So, the question becomes, oh, add behavior. Interesting. So I can add a script that gets called on death. Fair enough. Fair enough. I just need a new script. I can't even use an existing one? That's unfortunate. Animator, death. Yeah. And that is a script which hopefully got added to my scripts folder. And now that I see it hasn't been, I need to shift it to my scripts folder. Yes, yes, I know things have changed. God forbid. Okay. So, onState enter is called when a transition starts and the state machine starts to evaluate this state. OnState update is called between state start and exit. OnMove is called right after the move. Code that possesses of root motion. And then IK. Okay, so onState exit is the one I care about. Whoops. There we go. I don't like override being before public. I like to always have what's going on first be the accessibility. Otherwise, it's hard for me to tell what's public and what's private and what should be accessed from outside classes and what shouldn't be. Now, we're just going to do the... Oh, whoa, hello, hello, wait a minute. Animator dot game object. There we go. Okay, well, shoot, that was simple. I don't need any of these, I'll tell you that. Thank you, Wendrisco, for the pointing me in the right direction. Definitely good to have knowledgeable viewers poking me when I start to go off path. Yeah. And just to quickly double check, take damage goes out, and then I don't see an actual... Okay, but if take damage isn't set back to false, it'll keep spinning inside the take damage loop. So we do need to set that back. On death, set bool. Cool. Interesting. Magniferix is making a good point about being able to check what state you're going into in the animator as well. I'll keep that in mind. Alright, let's see if this sucker works now. Oh wait, it shouldn't work quite yet. There's one more piece of information here. Let's see, character, when we take damage, if our current health is greater than 0, after we take our damage, then we are going to send a message to all of our own components that is going to call on take damage. Otherwise, we're going to send the message to all our components called on death. Yep. On take damage, on death. Set trigger will set what is essentially a bool that automatically gets turned off once again. So I'm tempted to kind of go about that, but I don't see that they have the triggers automatically put in here for me, and I don't want to mess with the art assets currently. Eventually, I will definitely probably switch back to set trigger, because I like that better than I do making a call to something that I have to make a call to again to get rid of. But for now, I think it's not that bad to be doing what I'm doing. Okay, so the bat needs that new piece of information. Monsters, forest bat, you need a new combat animation controller. Your on damage will be called take damage. And crap, what was its death? Was it just called death? It was called die. Okay. And one thing I want to quickly add in here, since I just thought about it, if on damage var is not, if it equals string.empty, then we're just going to skip this stuff. And we want to do the same thing in on death, except the on death variable is the one we need to test. There we go, just in case we want one but not the other somehow. And that's fine. Is there anything? I feel like I'm missing something, but we will see it in action. Oh god, let's not keep our characters at 1 health. Let's actually let them... I'm going to mess with, let's see, your hit bonus. Let's drop that a little so you stop wailing on my characters so hard. And let's let our characters have full health again, since we're not testing their death anymore. Poor people. There we go. Back to max health. We start the fight. The headphone is here just for looks, I swear. As they eat. Oh, has no receiver. Okay, this is sending. What? Oh, okay. It's quick fix. It's sending exceptions when there's no receiver. Where did those send messages go? They're on character and they don't require a receiver. Send message options don't require receiver. Yes. I always forget to add that in, so it's always hilarious when that starts to go off. And it's like, no, 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 that's fine. That's good, even. Man, maybe I should be setting these things to 1 health just so I can watch them die faster. Whatever. I don't know why they like eating this mage. This poor mage. Nope, there we go. We watched it take a hit. Mage attacks bat. Nope. Let's try that again. Come on, people. I expect you to do a little better here. Oof. Come on, somebody hit this thing. Makes me wonder if their I think it's their coordination. What rolls damage dice? Or not damage, defense dice. Defense roll, coordination, and reasoning. Okay, well, let's drop their reasoning to a nice low number here. After this. Okay, maybe I'll do it sooner because... Nope. Okay, right. Combat is still killing things immediately. The combat UI needs to stop doing that. Kill character. Oh, no, it's not the character doing that. It's actually this function. Does the player character need that yet? No, it doesn't. I don't see any kill character. Oh, there's the code for it. Okay, so it does. Okay, that's fine. Let's... bats. Okay, bats, you have no reasoning. Oh, I like how I have a minimum of 2. I think that minimum should actually be 1, not 2. Okay, now my characters are hitting things. And I'm seeing the bats take hits. The only thing I don't like is the fact that when it took a hit, it kind of flinched and then went, like, snapped into the next animation. Also, I can't help but note that the game object destroy is not getting called. Like, it's dead and just laying there. Like, guys, you come on. Come on. Somebody died. Delete the image, please. That's kind of funny. Also, I didn't see a reaction from either of these two when the hits are going off. Oh, because it's not... Okay, so... Interesting. The animation is not kicking in here. The take damage is working. The die is working. But the animator isn't acting like this is what needs to happen. It's not actually calling it like on state exit. Let's start closing things because I don't need all of this open. On death, we call that, clearly the animator gets the signal. It's called when a transition ends and the state machine finishes evaluating the state. No, this can't be getting called. When a transition ends and the state machine finishes evaluating the state. Something here is not quite right. We're close. But not quite. I'm just going to give our bats 1 health. Let's see here. Hop back into Unity. Prefabs. Monsters. Bat. Bat, you have 1 endurance. Nope, 2 endurance is the lowest I can give it apparently. That's fine. These things should die in a single hit now. Really? Okay, there goes 1 bat. And I'm not seeing that debug line get called at all. I wonder if I have to attach it to the object itself. No, I can't. I didn't think I should either. That seemed a little weird if that were the case. Okay, so this is clearly not getting called. Let's see, this is a state machine behavior. Unity, just to make sure I get... What do we got here? Okay, on state enter, on state exit, called at update frame except for the first and last. So exit should be what I want. On state exit. On state enter. I love how there's 2 of these that I can overwrite. I wonder if I'm just not overwriting the right one. That'd be terrifying. And this needs to call... Oh, that's on state machine exit. That's different. That's a very different beast. Called on the last update frame when one of the state machines is transitioning... Wait, what? Called on the last update frame when one of the state machines states is transitioning toward another state in another state machine. That's not right. That's definitely not right. Called when it goes out of scope. Don't care about that. I'm kind of tempted to see what this on update does. On state enter, on state enter. Yeah, this is an on state exit. There is another on state exit. If this is the one that gets called, I'm going to laugh. Let's just test this real quick. Yeah, rogue do damage. And there it goes, and it's not getting deleted still. So that's definitely not it. On state update. Let's try update. Specifically, whoops. Okay, let's try this again. Now that we've updated our text, hit oh, okay, there's a lot of on-state updates. And it's just going. Okay, so it doesn't think the animation is done for some reason. It's calling on-state update even though it has nowhere to go. Fire events, feet pivot active. Is there some time that I can check? Playback time. Sets the playback time in the recording buffer. Play in fixed time. Set time. I'm curious about this playback time. Set the play. Okay, yes, that's nice. I want to know if this is a normalized value. The value can range between recorder start time and recorder stop time. Okay, I have a feeling that that's not what I'm actually hunting for here. It might be, but I have a feeling that's not. Set bool, get float, get int, has state, close, is in transition. Look at set target. Man. If there was some way just to know, like, it was at the end of its update, that'd be perfect. That'd be exactly what I want. But I'm not finding anything of the sort, unfortunately. Human scale. No. Is human? No. I can check parameters, but I have a feeling I don't actually care about parameters. Maybe there's some state I can find in here. If is named. Check if you use the animator mechanism, then I think you should do something like this. Be aware that your animation name should be similar to layer underscore name. State name, but if you use substate machine and mechanism, hero start update fighting is in transition. Okay, layer index though. I don't know what. Okay, is there a layer index obvious in here? Right defaults, foot IK, mirror speed multiplier. No. Left of the animator's window, layers section. I'm in base layer. Oh, thank you, Magniferix. Okay, so base layer. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So that might be one way to do this. Is we say on update if animator dot crap. I had it in my head a second ago. Get current animator state info. Here's our layer index. If the length, loop, speed multiplier, if the normalized time is greater than 0.99f, destroy animator.gameObject. And I should put a return after this, I suppose. And let's just get rid of this, because that junk doesn't work. Alright, let's try this again. Which is the first, so it'll be is in transition 0 since base. Okay, so I think I get what you're saying, Magniferix. I think your way is better. I just want to see if this works. No. Okay, that definitely did not work. So let's go to animator dot is in transition 0. So if this works, I'll be happy as well. I don't really care. I just want to see bats die, hit the ground, and disappear. Right? There's a hit. There's a hit. That is just insta-death still. Is in transition. Okay, let's see if there's anything else in this like state info that we can play with. Because this is bizarre. Oh, okay, I see why it's destroyed right away. So I need the name, a name hash. No, I just want short name hash. Hash is generated using string to pass. Does not include the parent layer's name. Tag hash speed. Okay, so the full path hash. Oh my gosh, is name. Does name match the name of the active state in the state machine? Okay, so if its name is die, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah. So, okay, our current state info, animation state, animator state info. So we check, okay, are you actually in the death state? And animator dot is in transition. Is declared in scope. Oh, I already have the state info. Oh, holy heck. I don't even need to grab it. It's just like there. All this information is here. I'm doing this so sloppily. As it turns out, when I start coding, I kind of brute force my way through a lot of it, and then I tend to clean up and go back and mess with things and fix it up as I understand what I'm actually doing. It's one of those kind of nasty things that happens, unfortunately. Bat bites made. Okay, the bats are hitting people. Let's try this again. Kill something. And insta-death. Gosh darn it. If it's dying and state info dot okay, if we are in the die state, I'm just gonna do one thing. Debug state info dot normalized time. I just want to see what this is. My curiosity is honestly going to get the better of me until I figure this out. Can I look at the animator when the transition starts? Probably, yeah. I mean, if I could just see the animator at any point when this thing dies. Aha! Okay, here's this time. And... okay, I think I know what to do. Because if I look at this, it dies and then just immediately starts rolling through this. So it's if it's dead and the normalized time is greater than 1. Right, because it's normalized. So we don't care about the actual length of the animation, we just care about how far along in the animation it is. Oh, and this should be a destroy animator.gameObject. Let's not forget that piece of the puzzle here. That is an important piece. Just to make sure. Right, is that greater than or equal to 1? Okay, we hit things, but we didn't kill things yet. Granted, I think we've still got... nope, no one left. Let's swing again. There we go. Ta-da! Things dying. Now, I can't help but notice that this is still here. The model is gone. But the game animation is not. Okay. What? This is attached to the animator, and the animator is only attached to the model, not the root node of the model. It makes me wonder if I can do something like this. And then leave it like that. Specifically, I jump into the animator, die. Okay, good. It has a root node it's expecting. If I go into prefabs, whoops. Because this should be self-contained, right? Everything should be pointing to itself here. I'm looking at an animator inside of an object that is tied to itself, to its own root node, in the same object. What was that? Destroying assets is not permitted. Okay, I'm not trying to destroy the asset. So it thinks that I mean... it thinks I mean the root node. I don't. I mean its own node. I'm so close. So close to having this working. Yeah, celebratory drink when I'm done, but in the meantime, what the heck? Okay, here's all the other game objects that are assets. But these are all just the prefabs. I don't care about the prefabs. I want my own local object. And that's kind of the hard part here. It makes... oh, let's... wait. Let's look at this for a sec. If I look at... so we have this prefab. And it is set up in a very particular way. But if I look at the models, I bet the Forest Bats animator or animations, yeah, okay, it's its own thing. So this is what I'm looking at when I look at this the whole time. It's not actually a specific animator. It is the animator as a piece. That's our problem. So what we're going to do is figure out a better way to do this. We know that this is going to be attached to characters, right? That's an assumption I'm going to kind of make right now. In fact, I'm even going to it's attached to an animator of a character eventually. So what I'm going to do is we're going to say, great, you should be dead. Let's see here. While, no. Game object. Animator.gameObject if possible root get component character is not null. Actually, I should put this inside a while, shouldn't I? Really? A while loop? Or a for loop? That possible root is not null. Possible root is root.transform.parent.gameObject. That seems a little bit of a stretch. Let's simplify this a little first, and then finish it. If possible root has a character component attached to it, we need to do the following, and then return. We are going to destroy the possible root and then be done. And we should be destroying ourselves in the process. I'm just going to put an error in here for myself just in case I do something incredibly stupid. I just want to make sure that this plays well with everything that I've got in place. And that if something goes wrong, at least it'll tell me. I would appreciate it if it told me. Okay, no dead bats yet. We need to keep going. I like how nobody's actually, like, taken damage in the party yet. Hey, there it goes. Death and full removal. Great. Great. Now celebratory drink. I didn't leave much for myself for a celebratory drink, but you guys get the point. It's working! Yeah. Right? Now I just want to kill all the bats. Every time. Every single time. There we go. Plop. Now, granted, they're not actually touching the floor. We'll have to work on that. The animation is a teensy bit off. Just a teensy bit, but that's not too bad, considering. I'm kind of tempted to leave all the combat rolls in, just in case. But we'll see. Cool, so no errors, nothing else. We got the animations tied in. We've got character death added in. Let's take those off my list. There's that. The bat attacks. Yep. He also has the hurt and death animation. Great. We have dodging in. I actually did that off stream. Sorry, guys. So stamina usage, and then let's see. How long have I been at this? Hour and a half. Yeah, let's add in stamina usage. Actually, that's a hard one. That is a more difficult one. Let's do critical hits first. I actually don't think I've defined when a critical hit should happen. I need to look at my document again. See if it's actually something I've like defined that happens, or because I don't think I have. Let's see. Homebrew RPG system. What do you got? What do you got? Game mechanics. Dice rolls. Great. Okay, I don't see anything here, guys. At least not at quick, like a first glance. I don't see how things fall into place. I have damage resolution. I've got how to check hits. I've got area checks and to hit rolls. But I don't actually see... I don't actually see how I should do a critical hit. Maybe I will leave that off for now, because that's something that needs good design. If I design it poorly and everybody's just like criticaling everywhere, I could destroy players, I could destroy monsters, like I could just really muck all kinds of stuff up with critical hits. Let's see, what else can we kind of blast through? Hi, am I using VSO? I have no idea what VSO stands for. Visual Studio Online? I don't... VSO. You're gonna have to... Sorry, Carl. You're gonna have to let me in on what VSO actually means. I'm using C# and Unity, if that tells you anything, but I don't think that does. I have a feeling that doesn't actually tell you what I'm using. Oh, haha, I guessed it. If I see the O as the last character on anything, I just assume it's online. Visual Studio, I'm using, what am I using? I think I'm using the Pro Edition of 2013. That I am, yes. Visual Studio Pro 2013. That's what I got. Attached to an animator. Okay, yeah, animator death, great. I'm just gonna check all this in while I think about what next. What comes next, right? There's got to be something here that we can do that comes next that we can add to this game, because combat is clearly not finished. There's obviously stuff to be done. Let's see, death icon, player death, more bat animations, though buggy, end of game screen, on party death, on party wipe. I'll use good old RPG terms for some of this. Did I add anything else? Oh, and dodge action. Dodge action and state. I like to poke through my diffs before I submit things just to make sure everything in here is as I expect it to be. Otherwise, silly things can happen. Dodged and hit. Yeah, that's all fine. Okay, yeah, I mean, it looks good. It just seems a little weird. Destroy bat on game. No, on end of animation. Using state machine behavior. I think that's all the notes I'll need. I think I'll understand what I'm doing, or what I did in the future if I look back at all those notes and then the code. Mental is asking, would I recommend using Tortoise over Git? So Tortoise is, I'm going to assume by Tortoise you mean Tortoise SVN, because SVN and Git are the two things at odds here. Tortoise actually has a Tortoise Git extension. Do I recommend SVN over Git? For projects in which there is a very low programmer count and not many people are contributing to the code, SVN is definitely, I think, the simpler way to go. Git is great. GitHub is where most of the features of Git actually exist. And GitHub is a great way to collaborate with other people on a project. Don't get me wrong. But when working on something such as, you know, your little personal indie project, I find that using SVN is just fine because nobody else is causing merge conflicts. Nobody else is doing anything bizarre with the game. Even if you add a couple people, it's not going to break SVN. SVN just starts to break down when you have a lot of people working on the same product. That's when it kind of falls to pieces. And Unity does not make it easy. Because its scene is, even when you switch it to the ugly YAML format that it uses when you tell it textual storage, it's just kind of messy. And so it doesn't play with any source control nicely. So I don't know. Yeah, it depends on usage. Once again, tools and their right setup. There's kind of a lot that can be said for using the right tool for the right job. And for me, Tortoise is just kind of my go-to if there's not going to be many people working on it. Okay. Let's think. Combat's a little better. A little. Spells need to happen at some point. I need to start architecting that. I need to do the sub-attack types. So when I say, I'm attacking with my sword, the game needs to say, okay, are you swinging your sword? Are you thrusting with your sword? Are you backhanding somebody with the pommel of the sword? Like, what are we going for here? What do we want to do? I want that extra control here. Equipment, changing equipment mid-fight is also kind of a thing I want to take care of at some point. Although, once again, that requires some better controls. Rest? I need to figure out how I want to handle rest as well. When somebody falls asleep, I kind of want to make sure that, A, they're a friggin' easy target, right? If they can't really defend if you're resting. If you're unconscious and somebody decides to stick you with a sword, you're not exactly going to roll out of the way, are you? Let's try adding rest in and see how we go from there. Actually, no. Oh, God, because rest requires stamina working to be done. Thank you, Drugged Puppy. It looks kind of nice. It's also kind of small. And the problem is, in order to make an area of this size, it took me probably like a half hour to make this little space. And it's not even a completed little space. If we actually look at the movement grid, you can see that it's so far from complete. Down here is pretty much well defined, but up here is not. Makes me wonder if I can't like find these. Okay. While I think about this, I'm going to add more grid nodes because this is like a mindless thing that I just need to do, at least right now, until I come up with better tools. It definitely is something I need to do. Yeah, it's a movement grid, and it's ugly. Just how, it's not even a star, it's just whatever's next. Because movement, at least for the player, is as simple as telling it which direction to go, and the monsters are going to pop up kind of random encounter style. So I'm not too worried about that stuff. Why did it not want to attach to? What is wrong? You, oh, are missing a node. That's why. I thought I already had fixed this. Apparently not. Let's just double check something very quickly here. When I connect a grid node, when I say calculate grid node connections, oh, this is in the editor. My bad. Don't mind me. Editor, grid placement. Interesting. So I should be setting all of this correctly. I don't see why I'm not. It's kind of weird. Oh, is that because I'm doing it after? If it's not null, null everything. That makes sense. Yeah, Dragon Sticks has it right. The idea is that when you move around in this game, you move around very much the same way you do most old school dungeon crawlers. I kind of wanted to take some aspects and modernize them, and some aspects and leave them be. I'm not a huge fan of non-grid based movement, if only because that makes random encounters really weird. You have to set up areas in which fights start. You have to make sure that if you script out a fight that, like, if I'm standing here, the enemies aren't inside a tree. At least not without doing something akin to Wizardry 8, where suddenly the enemies exist in the 3D world, and it was really easy to do something like start a fight, step in range of one monster, even though you'd have a group of 8 of them, you'd fight the one monster, and then you'd take another step forward and walk into the range of 2 or 3 more and fight those, even though the group size was 8. Versus here, I can just walk into a fight and, oh no, there are 3 of them, right? That makes it a lot easier in comparison to handle some of this. There we go. Now I can walk a little further. But you note how much trouble it is to add one new grid node. And that's something I need to fix. Like, I've simplified it somewhat, so don't get me wrong. This isn't terrible, but it's not great. In fact, it's far from great. It takes way too long for me to tack another node in, tell it calculate, go to the previous node. Okay, good. They both calculated correctly. So now when I walk through, oh, look at that. It undoes that change. Or it undoes the change on the other one. I wonder if there's some way to set... Oh, haha. Editor, utility. Okay. So set dirty essentially says, hey, something's changed. You need to handle it. I can't help but notice that I need to also do that on the other node script that I find. Kind of hate to do this so many times, but I think I'm gonna, at least for now. So I think the change exists in Unity's editor. It just wasn't saving that change. Let's try it again. Yeah, now the change is getting saved out. Good, 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 good. I'm just always sad when I create a tool and then proceed to have to, like, fight with my own tools. Because honestly, sometimes I used to take a lot of pride in the tools I make. And it's kind of difficult to take pride in a tool that it works, but I could make it work so much better. Right? So let's think. What do we want to do next? Or what do I want to do next? Since technically my game. But you guys are helping me out to some degree. And I do appreciate not only you guys being here. Thank you for joining me today. I'm not done yet. I've got a little more I'd like to crunch in before I call it a day. But if this is the first time you're watching this stream and you're wondering what the heck I'm up to, I am working on making a first-person dungeon crawl game. And what I am attempting to do is do as much of it on stream as possible. There we go. And as I make it, I then will proceed to... Whoops. I have every intention of trying to get as much done on stream as I can manage. And hopefully you guys can help me and I can help you guys out along the way too. I'm happy to answer questions about being in the game industry, because I do actually work as a programmer in the game industry. So I'm happy to answer questions about that. I'm happy to answer questions about programming, or just, you know, shoot the wind while I make the most boring aspect of my game reality, such as these grid nodes. Oh my gosh, boring. Lucky me, it seems to at least be working. And I can do something like this, and you'll note I have a much more complete grid node set than I did before. Now, I can't help but also notice that one of these does not look like it attached correctly. I just kind of want to make sure that each of these is... Yeah, they didn't all set up correctly, it looks like. Oh well, I can just tell them all recalculate, and you'll note that each time I tell one of these to recalculate, it actually is going so far as to reset itself and set all of its neighbors correctly. And that's all I really need it to do. And eventually this will be a lot easier. I just need to improve the tools, and sometimes the question is how. It can be a little bit difficult to find a good starting point to make a tool, even though this is something that clearly needs work. I do like this though. I can now walk around up to this thing almost. Oh cool, I see questions. iWombo asks, for what company? I work for a startup called Signition. We write educational game software. It's hard to say more, unfortunately, because it's just we're still working out details of things, and so I'd hate to see something or to say something and then have the opposite come true. So aside from I make educational video games, yeah, there's servers involved. We are looking for a gameplay or networking programmer if you happen to be in the area and interested. And by in the area, I mean California, probably. Quick plug for my own job. So yeah, I use Unity and C# at work, and I do it also in the morning. I have my morning stream before work. 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard for those who are curious and want to see more. Or if you want to catch up, my YouTube has all of the VODs. Also, I think Twitch has all my VODs right now as well. But the Twitch ones will start to disappear after a certain amount of time, so the YouTubes are a great place to see videos. My YouTube is a great place to see those videos. Drugged Puppy, you want to be a game programmer? Where do you start? It looks like Wen Driscoll is actually beating me to it. And he's got pretty much the exact thing I would say. The only thing I would add is easy languages like Python, while great. I can also recommend C# as an easy language that teaches good fundamentals if you're looking for something that'll get you started in the direction of learning coding that will apply to Unity eventually. Drugged Puppy, do you need to go to college or university to get into the industry? It helps. It definitely helps. But if you have a portfolio that is beautiful and full of awesome games, then the whole going to college thing tends to matter a lot less. It really depends on what you want to apply for, though, and who is reading the applications. Because honestly, for some people, education is more important than others. Oh, Driscoll's asking, is there somewhere I can apply or someone I can talk to? Let me find the link I posted a while back for the job. Let's see. I know the job listing is here somewhere. Honestly, those job listings go to, here it is. The job listings go to everyone in the company, myself included, since there aren't many of us right now. But if you or someone you know is interested in gameplay programming or network engineering or game design, that link that I just posted is the way to go. Just send an email, cover letter, resume, and I will definitely see it. If you want to send me a message over Twitch or YouTube, I don't think you can send messages via YouTube. If you send a message via Twitch and tell me, I'll also be happy to look over it before I say anything about it to my coworkers. I'm happy to look over the resume and just say, hey, you know, spelling error, or hey, we're looking for something like this. Can you do this? Maybe you should add it to your resume. I might be able to help. I can get you an in. I'm good at that. Dragonstick mentioning fancy degrees never hurt when applying for jobs. That is true. experience is the biggest thing. Second is a fancy degree. It kind of makes up for lack of experience. So Driscoll, a lot of companies I found actually let you develop stuff on the side. The hard part, the really, really hard part is that drive, that I want to do something aside from work. That's why I actually stream in the morning instead of after work, is because when I get home after having coded all day, I am burnt. And you guys don't want to see me brain full of mush trying to poke at code or content. It's not pretty. It took me way too long to add dodging to the system last night. Granted, it doesn't help that I was probably watching House on the side, but still, my brain tends to be off after work. So doing things before work, or just having an insane amount of drive when you say, I want to work on this game. I really want to do something more than just a game jam. That's when it becomes more reality. And it's difficult sometimes to do this, but you guys definitely make it worth it. Having a fair number of viewers, people interested in the game you're working on, makes life so much easier for me as a game programmer. If only because there's folks to talk to and keep me from just like zoning out while I'm making this stuff. If I can guarantee you a job, you'll move to California. From the UK is definitely difficult because you'd have to go through the visa process, and I'm pretty sure at this point the company isn't sponsoring visas. Nice to know I have fans in the UK though. Thanks, puppy. Yeah, Driscoll, I definitely know the feeling. Being more thirsty, wanting to do more than what your work does. It's kind of crazy. But it's so worth it if you can get it right. If you can figure out that balance between work and play, it's amazing. The hard part is making sure you don't get to work and keep thinking about your game, because that's going to kill a lot of productivity. But yeah, no, it's fun. It's great. I love it. Obviously, I don't think I'd be here if I didn't love it, so. Dragon 6 started learning C# at high school. Awesome. Oh my god, that's amazing. I would love to have had a C# style class in high school. I think high school I did HTML, and it was like old school center in tags, blank in tags, marquee in tags. Like, that was the days of the dancing baby gif. So we're not exactly talking about like good JavaScript or HTML5 stuff. But still, yeah, the C#, great place to start. Especially with something like Unity, where it's so easy to make things with just a little bit of code. And hopefully, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer programming questions or to better explain what the heck I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Hobbly Gobbly from Germany, nice. Guten Tag. That's, I think, all the German I know. I used to know more German, mostly because my dad would say random phrases at me and then tell me what they meant. I used to know a specific line about, let's see. Yeah, let's see here. I want to make sure I don't screw this up, so if I'm gonna say it. Yeah, no, I don't remember it correctly. Like Google Translate's telling me, no, that's not a word. I don't know what you're trying, so stop it. Yeah, anyway. I know some Spanish. Albóndigas, no te dije. Which is meatballs. I do not like them. Alright, let's get back to the game here, because I've just been like poking around, looking around, and not really doing much of anything. It is good to test viewpoints. For example, I want to make sure that this log down here is in sight of these logs and bits of fence up here, just so that maybe the player understands that that fell apart at some point, thus the rocks and the other things. But we'll see if that actually gets across. Trying to do some kind of environmental storytelling here. I'd like to at some point maybe put an item on the ground so you walk over it and it says, oh, there's something here you can pick up. Like let you click on it or something. Just so that the player can have that sense of like the environment being a living place, as opposed to right now, you know, you can look off into infinity really easily. And the skybox is incredibly boring. Ooh, I could work on time of day. That would be fun. That'd be really fun. I'm trying to remember if time of day was actually a real-time thing in any of the other Wizardry games. Or if that was just like a, like each time I take a turn, a little bit of time passes in the day, and at some point it becomes night. I think that would be friggin' fantastic. Just trying to look stuff up very quickly. I'm not... Oh man, and that was the other thing. Wizardry, if you stuck around long enough, a character could die. Like, that was weird. Like, literally they had a candle inside their, the character stats screen. And the candle would burn down as a character got older. And it took a long time to burn down, right? Like, we're talking a character who is 30 who might live till they're 70, right? That's a lot of days. And yet each day you take to complete your quest or to go a little further, that candle burns down ever so slightly more. It was like the longest timer on a game I've ever seen, right? You could play the game super, super slowly and like, oh no, I took a damage, time to sleep the night. But at the same time, it's kind of one of those silly things where it would take so long to just rest all the nights until your characters are dead that it seems almost bizarre to have that as a mechanic. Making a day system with weather API, ooh, if I could get local weather, I'd never see any because I live in California. I literally would see nothing. I'd see nighttime, and that'd be about it. And I think Unity does give us access to the system clock, so if we wanted to do something like that, that'd be awesome. But I don't think I want to do that, if only because some players would only be able to play at certain times of day, and that's why I don't like games like Animal Crossing. It's neat to have the effects on different days. That's fantastic. But I don't want something where it's like, well, I can only play at night because I've got kids, or I can only play in the morning because I got a job, or because, you know, I work all night and so I have to only play during the day, so I never get to see the night monsters. I'd hate to generate a ton of content and then have some players just completely miss it. So I think having a day-night cycle in-game is fantastic. So why don't we... I'm kind of tempted to poke at that. Kind of tempted. Let's see. I have a directional light, right? So just to simulate this in-game. Let's see here. So you'd see shadows shift, right, as the day passes. And that'd be kind of cool. That's a good step in the right direction. Especially, granted, I could just go in circles too, and that looks kind of silly. I'm trying to think here. I need to make the shadows longer, so I'd actually need to start rotating it upwards, and then when it hits a vertical, I'd need to stop. Because there does come this point where like everything drops into shadow, and there's literally no point to having that directional light still floating around. Also, I'd have to figure out, let's see here. I would probably also want to figure out, Yeah, I know, dragon sticks. I say poking at things a lot because I don't see myself diving into this too deeply with, you know, probably what's an hour left of time that I have to spend on it today. I'll probably try a few things. If it works, great. If not, whatever. Cybertech actually asks a really good design question here. Would I have it increment time at a steady rate or for each step? Considering the world is moving on its own as you just stand around, I'm kind of tempted to have it go at a steady rate. Because technically, yeah, time stops during combat. If you think about the fact that, like, I walk up here, whoops, I wander here, and suddenly bats and a fight and interesting things, right? If I only had time of day pass as the day went on, yeah, if I only did it in turns, I think it would take too long and you'd never really see anything. So I think it's better to have it actually time of day. So we do something like, okay, there's our, I was wondering where that marker would go. So, okay, let's say, here's midday, right? Shadows are practically straight down. Things are pretty obviously set in their way. I can't help but notice that some things aren't casting much in the way of shadows. Do you not cast a shadow? No, you do. It just is literally self-casting. Terrain off. Or no, terrain closed, not off. Okay, yeah, it's only shadowing on itself. There really is very little for it to hit in the way of terrain. That's fine. Okay, so then midday turns to, whoops. Let's see here. Midday gets longer and longer. Also, I can't help but note that, oh, wow, it actually put a sun in the sky for me. What is this? Okay, guys, I gotta say, I have not coded a single thing that has a sun attached to it. And yet, there's one here. Is that part of the light? Really? I mean, that'd be great if that's the case. I don't mind features existing without me doing anything. I just think it's kind of silly that that would be the case. Oh, Unity's 5's default skybox is procedural? That's friggin' amazing. Wow. No wonder. Okay. So the funny thing here that I can't help but note is that when I go upside down, right, when the camera is facing clearly the wrong way, that things are still being lit from the underside, right? That is kind of funny. Also, is that stars? Are you friggin' kidding me? I actually can't see if that's dust on my screen or stars. My screen is kind of a bit of a mess. Okay, yeah, no, that looks like just black. Okay. Well, crap. That looks really friggin' cool. Okay. Sun, come on. Oop. Oh, okay. It wants up and down motion. So, wow, that is an impressive look. The only problem I'm having is that things are falling in my house, apparently. Also, the only other thing I'm having trouble noticing is the fact that it's still casting shadows from that angle. You'll note, or it's still casting light from that angle, so you'll note that some things still have light on them, but they're not really casting their shadows properly. I'm trying to think of, like, you'll note there's light on this tree, on this side of the tree, because this is not a two-sided material. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Oh well. Makes me wonder if I could two-side this for shadows. Or if I could do that easily. Or if I even want to. That's another thing. I think I need to. Render.shadow casting mode. Okay. So there's the renderer somewhere has this option that I can turn on or off. It's also possible. Okay, so I should be able to click on an object. On, off. Oh, hey, two-sided. Sweet. Okay. I think I just found exactly what I need. I think all the, I think all of this requires a rogue grid node running around here with no connections to anything. Just here, don't mind it. Let's just turn most of this on to two-sided shadows. We don't want the trees to be two-sided for shadows, but I think everything else... fences don't need that either. So let's flip it off for all the fencing. There's walls, there's stairs. Stairs definitely need it. There's some fencing. Can I just click on it and see? It looks like I can. Don't want the props to be two-sided either. It's a little overkill for those to be two-sided. Okay, I think I nailed all the things I want. Oh, the tree. Duh. Trees should not be two-sided. Oh, and the trunk is a separate object. And this bush should not be two-sided. There we go. I think I've got everything turned off as I please. The problem I'm seeing is that it's not letting me do the multiple... Oh, because the party UI got turned on? Ugh. You are all two-sided now. Well, shoot. Okay, so we've got a sun. Whoops, I didn't mean to walk into that fight. Question becomes, can I quickly and easily turn on a moon? Okay, looks like Cybertech's done something like this before. I've done day and night before, got around it by having the light intensity drops as it gets closer to the horizon and then disable the light whilst below the horizon. Perfect. That's definitely what we're looking for here. When Driscoll says that he wants to ask earlier, do I use a tile system for the environment? Yeah, the entire environment is made up of ground tiles. And I'm not entirely happy with it because it's sometimes difficult. If I want to add to the environment, I have to literally grab an existing tile, drag it near its new location, or just edit it into the right place. It's not the end of the world, but it definitely is work that I would rather not do. I'd love to be able to just place these things so that I can say, oh, well, you know, this should be at -7 and -17, and just kind of have it happen. I need a better way to design some of this, is really what it comes down to. Because as is currently, like, this is a lot of work for very little terrain. I'm not actually adding a ton to my level right now, especially if I want to do a lot of terrain all at once that looks the same. I'm actually eating up a lot more polygons than I need to, because if you think about this right here, this section, oops, yeah, if you think about like this giant section, right, this is 9 tiles worth, so 9 by 4 for our vertex count. So it's 36 vertices for something that could actually honestly just be 4 vertices. And then on top of that, they all have their own normal, they all have their own texture coordinates. Like, that's overkill. And then some. I should have a way eventually to compress areas like this down, but for now I don't, so yeah. yeah, that's kind of stuck, unfortunately, as is. Let's see, if I can place this here, I'm kind of curious. If I do 1, minus 15, and then that actually doesn't look too bad. Anyway, so you can see it takes a while to kind of put terrain together, and that is an unfortunate thing. It should not be the case. I should be able to slam out new terrain fairly quickly, and it would be best if I could literally just say, here's the height, click here, 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 done. Like new tile, select tile, I want this one here, 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 here. Finished. That'd be perfect. As it is, that's not actually the case or how it works right now. So it takes me a little longer than that. And God forbid we talk about like putting grid nodes on this because of the way player movement works right now. Like none of these got new grid nodes. Even though I just made a good chunk of new territory to walk over, there's still no grid nodes here. I need the grid nodes. Otherwise nothing moves at all. So we'll see. We shall definitely see. Right, night and day cycle. I'm getting completely off track with what I'm hunting for here. So I need to play with a few more things before I kind of finalize in my head how I think this should work. Specifically, let's see here. So we've got the directional light. If I can click on it. Thank you, Unity. Okay. Excuse me. So here's our standard light. So as I get closer to the end of the day, yellowing the light and then dropping off into darkness is, I think, how I want to go, because that's kind of how things start to look. They start to go down this kind of darker orangey yellow path and then into pure darkness. And then we want to go from darkness, or from semi-darkness, we want to cast a blue, because nights are never white. They're kind of a bluish in comparison. And so you'll note that it kind of looks best when it's not a perfect white, but it's actually kind of a bluish white. It lets you know that time of day has changed. Like this alone, it looks a little too bright maybe. So maybe we'll drop the brightness of it and maybe add a little more blue. But now it's starting to look a little more night, right? We start to get to this point where it's kind of obvious. Also, there's a lot of ambient going on here. It makes me wonder if my ambient lighting is too high. Ambient intensity. Okay, there's a night scene for you. There's a perfect night scene for you. You'll note that you can't see a ton. Granted, this is too dark for an actual game as well. So we're going to leave it up ever so slightly, probably. But still, it's a neat thing to know. And also, I'm curious, okay, yeah, that, it still looks like daytime in the sky. That's the only weird part about this setup, is that, yeah, it just continues to look like daytime regardless. And that's just, I assume Unity's awesome dynamic shadow box just has no concept of what some of this should look like when it comes to nighttime. Or it might, but it might have a different dynamic skybox that I have to switch to. Let's see, default skybox. I wonder if there's like a default night skybox. Whoa. Sorry guys. Apparently I swapped to a bad skybox that isn't actually a skybox. I switched to a video effect that breaks everything. There we go. Stoked Owen asks, did I make all these props myself? No. I purchased these. I am unfortunately not nearly enough of an artist to be able to put together hand-painted textures as pretty as these. This whole thing is a hand-painted set. I got these from BitGem. I've been a fan of their work for a long time, and this is just kind of... it's a style that I've fallen in love with more recently. I don't know if it's a style that I'll keep in the long run, but it's definitely a style I love right now. And so I think I'm going to hang on to it at least as long as I can manage. Where the heck is weapon item folder? No. Material. Would it be a material type? Make a new material skybox. Material. Skybox. Oh, here we go. Procedural. Sweet. Let's make the moon friggin' monstrous. Just because we can. Atmosphere thickness. Oh, this is so pretty. Sky tint. Where is it getting the blue from? That's the one thing. Like, I understand. Okay, maybe that's just the atmosphere thickness. Okay. What if we tint things a little darker? Okay. And let's see here. I need to switch to this skybox, otherwise I'll never see it in scene. So let's do that as well. I called it night skybox. Okay. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not what we want. Specifically, we need to... Okay, the atmospheric thickness needs to drop to pretty much 0. It needs to be pretty tiny. Sun size, okay, that's overkill. Moon, I'm actually tempted to drop it to 0 and put my own moon in the sky so that it can be really cool. 0.001, 2.5, okay, wow, there we go, okay. And I assume it's grabbing colors based on this directional light. So if I switch this directional light to blue, does it get that? Oh, it does. It takes on that hue. It's not going to be quite... let's see. What does my scene look like now? That actually looks pretty freaking good. I am happy with that. Maybe drop the intensity a little further just to make it more night-like. But now, if I play, like the the monsters need to be changed because they don't, they're not following the light rules. Models, no, not a model. It's part of the prefab for the monster. Oh, it's actually probably, let's see here. It might be under the model. I know there's a material in here somewhere. I need to hunt it down. Materials, forest bat. Okay, these are just vertex lit, which is... yeah, that's not what we want in the slightest. And since I'm using the green bat, I can kind of test it out on this. Unlit, no. This is a lit thing, so I don't really like using the standard. Part of me just wants to go for like the good old school diffuse. Just go for that. See how it looks. In the middle of the night, you cannot see the monsters attacking you. Okay. I need to think about that. Alright. Yeah, this looks decent. I'm actually kind of tempted to see what happens if I turn the light. So the light intensity is actually pretty darn near close to full. I'm amazed that I can't see as much of these models. It definitely would be good if the players emitted a kind of light, or if I shouldn't say the players, the party. I talk players as if this were like a tabletop RPG that has its own details about it. It's not the case. Let's see, light. Let's say the players or the party gets a point light. It has a decent range. Let's see, range of, oh god, range of 10 is actually monstrous. Also, I'm going to switch the light to the camera if I can. Let's see if I can manage to that. Rendering light. Sweet. Okay, that's better. And we might give it a flicker later. Point, real time, color. Let's make it an orangey hue. And we can just turn it off during the day scenes. Okay, it's... Oh, okay, I see part of the issue. Part of the issue is that these things aren't actually responding. Your main color is white. There we go. There's our problem. Okay. So now we get a little light cast onto them. Let's see if we can't crank up the light on this thing slightly. It is a full orange, so let's make it an orangey white and crank up the, let's see, intensity. Intensity might be the way to go. And can we do hard shadows out of curiosity? I want to see how those look, just in case. So I'm not really seeing the shadows land on anything, is the only part that's getting me. I'm actually going to try wandering around the fight. It actually seems like it's messing with some of the existing shadows. Having multiple shadow maps cast on the same area is making it somewhat unhappy. Let's see here. If I crank up... Oh, okay. Nah. I'm actually still not seeing the shadows. Am I just at the wrong angle? Is it just because I am the shadow caster? Okay, yeah, that might actually be the case. Casting a light, a shadowed light specifically, from a shadow caster might not be a good idea at all. Don't cast shadows. Just don't bother with it. Whoops. I don't mean to keep walking into this fight. Tister, do you happen to also watch Jericho from time to time? Because I think I recall hearing him, like, yesterday commenting on a name such as your own. I'm also kind of impressed that Twitch lets you keep such a name. But that's besides the point. Alright, this looks pretty freaking good. I'm happy with what I got. This just happens to be using a shader I don't like. I want it to move. I want it to wiggle. Wiggle, little bush. Cool. Okay, so we've got our presets for day and night. We know what we have to do to make it run. Right? We know the settings we want to go between at bare minimum. Oh, Drugged Puppy beat me to it a long time ago. Changed the main color to white. Tister is asking why not use the standard shader. So the standard shader has a lot of bits on it that don't quite look that great to me. If I go for standard, you'll note suddenly we have this shininess, which even if I turn the smoothness down to 0, there's actually some really funny things you can do with shiny and smooth that that's actually not too terrible. Just the fact that the light I'm using is casting onto... Can I turn that off? If I could turn that off, that'd be actually much better looking. But I don't think there's a way to turn that off. Light, no shadows, no halo, render mode, auto, culling everything. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to stop a light from casting against a shader, which is unfortunate. Because if I could avoid this one specular dot on its face, I would kind of friggin' love this. Because that actually doesn't look too bad. Even if we bring the light... I don't know. It doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look great either. You can also see the light bouncing off of it from the moon. It doesn't look terribly good. There's just a lot going on in the standard shader that I tend to avoid it because it's so complex in comparison to a lot of the other stuff I could do with lights. I could go to standard specular and set it to black, like it currently is. Yeah, it's okay, I guess. It just tends to be an overblown shader. It's got all this stuff in it that I don't care about. And it's all in the shader, regardless of whether I'm using it or not. I don't have normal maps, yet normal mapping is taken care of as part of this. Yeah, okay, if I ever improve my details, I could fix that up a bit. That might look better, but for now, I'm just going to keep with my basic diffuse. I don't need a lot of the other stuff. At least not at the moment. Okay. Party camera, turn off the light for a moment, and let's switch the light back to its original settings. So I believe it was... Here's where I'm going to cause some trouble, because I think this is my natural state. I think. Although that doesn't look right. It looks like I messed this up slightly. Could it be my skybox? Yes, it's definitely skybox. Okay. Really? I did not know that. Wendrisco is saying that the standard shader automatically removes things you don't use at compile time. Really? That's an impressive shader then, because to not use the features... That's interesting. It's good to know as well. It's definitely good to know. I'm learning all kinds of things about Unity thanks to you guys. Skyground, sky tint, sun size, high quality or simple. I wonder what a simple sun looks like. I'm just, the curiosity, I've never played with a lot of these systems, and so I've never actually seen what some of the details look like in these. For example, if we switch back to that night skybox, like, okay, that's pretty good looking. But then, like, okay, what's a simple? Okay, no moon, simple moon, that's kind of cool. And then high quality, which has this like blur outwards, which is also kind of neat. It definitely screams more light pollution to me, but that's not a bad thing either. Anyway, back to our, not night scene, but our default skybox. Okay, so what are the bits and pieces that we need here? We need some kind of day-night cycle script. One singular script that keeps track of time of day. We need to attach it to the light or to give it the details of the light such that it can control it well enough to either have the two lights circling each other in a meaningful way, because it would be really friggin' awesome if we could do something like a waxing or waning moon, but I'm not going to push that for right now. Hey, fog is a thing as well. I kind of forget that we need to control our render distance sometimes, and so yeah, okay, fog's a thing. Fog's a thing we really need to think about as we wander, especially if we want to use it as a neat effect. We need to keep it in mind. Mental saying that ambient occlusion would make some spots look nice. Yeah, it definitely would, I think, add to are seen. I'm pretty sure that's part of the extras kit. Alright, let's see here. So we need something that keeps track of our time of day. So let's start there, right? Simple, obvious C# script that is time of day controller. Do I need controller here? No, that's a... yeah, it's just a holdover from my my C++ days, I guess. Let's see here. We'll want, what? Probably a float that goes either between 0 and 1 and loops back around. Is that what we want? Okay. Either way, the actual time of day is a variable. And for now, let's just from -1 to 1. Right? -1 being our midnight, so to speak. 1 being... is that... I guess that could work. I mean, it's either that or I could go from -12 to 12. Or I could go from 0 to 24. There's a bunch of ways to handle this. It really depends on how many times we feel like dividing or multiplying by 12. That's part of that, at least. And when we start, we do need to set the start position of the sun in the sky. That, or we could use it as an offset, but I'd rather not. I don't like offset stuff. It tends to get messy really quick. Update, obviously. Float speed of day. Or I should say time per day, maybe. Right, so if I say 24, it should take 24 seconds for an hour, or for 1 unit to pass. What is the highlight line shortcut I'm using? Let's see, so I tend to hit home. So this is how I do it. I hit home, I hold shift, I hit end. That gives me the whole line. If you want to cut a line and paste it somewhere, you can use shift delete and then paste it somewhere else as well. Shift delete just cuts the whole line out of context and then we'll paste it back in wherever you put it. Let's see here. And then we've also got to keep in mind what this is going to look like for our directional light. How our directional light is going to handle this information. Because it's x-axis, I like the x-axis being the one that it rotates across. So we're gonna, let's see, we're probably gonna attach this time of day thing to our directional light. That much seems obvious. Also, the other thing I want to do right now, because time of day, there only should ever really be one of these, right? So I'm actually going to create a singleton based around this. Just say, okay, instance with a private private set and a public get, where upon instantiation instance equals this, and if instance is not null, debug.log error. And I shouldn't all caps that. Multiple time of day scripts exist, overriding. There we go. Not the end of the world, but we just have to know that something is going wrong here, just in case. Fastest way to code is never using the mouse. Yes, King Recycle has it right. The more I touch the mouse, the slower I tend to code. And that's just really the case in programming. If you can use keyboard shortcuts for as much as possible, I would say do it. Just kind of a thing that happens more often than not. So let's see, we're going to grab our local transform, and we are going to say that we want to rotate ourselves, or set our, let's see, set axis angle. No, set Euler angles, also deprecated. Well, okay, a version of it is deprecated. Nope, looks like they're all deprecated. Two angle axis. Two axis angle. That's deprecated. Okay. Okay, so there's our outs. It's actually kind of hard to set this thing. Euler angles. That returns, so it's probably just a getter. Sets a rotation, which rotates from the from direction to the to direction. I might just use that and like say, okay, your other axis is up. Set look rotation. Sets a rotation as specified forward and upwards direction. Okay. Could also be useful using a look rotation. I mean, I'd probably just provide it with a view, yeah, and it would calculate its own up, so that wouldn't be too bad. What does a singleton do for me? In this case, because it calculates the game's time of day, I don't want multiples of these to exist, because if I have two of these and they say have different time of day set inside of them, then problems are going to start to appear where objects that look for a certain time of day instance might find the wrong one. It also allows me to pretty easily have other things access the time of day for the game without requiring a reference to the time of day object itself. So I wouldn't have to go hunting en route for the object that contains the time of day. I could just say, no, what's the time of day? Grab the instance and get the time of day off of it, because there's probably a better way to access this information. I could set a new quaternion, but it looks like this thing's constructor needs a little help. So let's do the set. Because A, we don't want to be instantiating things we don't have to, and B, it looks like this should be enough for us. So our look rotation, let's see here. So our X, let's just say it's time of day times, do I have 2 pi here? No, but I have pi. And pi is enough. Vector 3 does not contain, oh, whoops, X, Y, Z. And time per day, let's see here. 1 per second. That seems fine. So I am noticing that even though time of day is changing, the rotation is not. it actually seems like time of day is stuck. Did I not? Oh, that should be a plus equals, not a equals. My bad. And obviously rotation is still not changing. Is that set return a quaternion? No, that is literally the view direction. Man. Can you have more than one singleton? If so, how would you call it in instance 2? No, that's the point of a singleton, is you can't have more than one. That's kind of your fight, is that it's only, and it is a very dangerous pattern that you don't want to use terribly often. But when you do use it, you want to make sure that as you use it, it doesn't just like become the only pattern you ever use. There are definitely good times and places for it. Transform.rotation.set. Time of day times pi times 2. Maybe this should not be times pi times 2, but 360. I keep forgetting that unity works in degrees usually and not radians, which kind of blows my mind at times, but that's unity for you. So I'm not seeing this change still. I find it weird. The rotation here is honestly not even shifting slightly. Rotate around. Ooh, here we go. We can rotate around our right, and we're going to rotate a certain amount. Specifically, I don't want to call it delta time because that's a little misleading, but delta day, that's not too bad, right? Let's see, I just want to double check. Rotate, let's see here. We've got man, this thing's got a lot of overloads here. Angles, axis and angle, space relative to, that's an interesting one. Relative to self and relative to world. Interesting. I wonder if I can just set rotation. That's the only thing I'm missing here, is setting the rotation. It seems to rotate it a set amount. Oh, and rotate around is apparently... Okay, that's fine. Rotate around is deprecated. I can handle that. Let's see, delta day times, what, 360 degrees? There we go. Whoa. Okay, we're going a little fast here, but that's fine. Let's make it take 10 seconds per day instead of 1 second. I love how the sun is moving in the sky. I'm clearly not doing something quite right. If we look at this thing as it moves about the day, it is not rotating in a in a sun-like manner. That actually looks friggin' hilarious. Okay. So aside from having created the most confusing or confused sun in the world, like, it works, it just has to remember that it comes up at a certain... I don't know. This thing is so lost. It's probably because I'm rotating it around its right-hand transform, and as it rotates, that's changing. So it's now, instead of always rotating around the same direction and doing this, it's going to rotate here, but that'll change it. And so now it rotates in a different way. And before long, you've got something that's gyroscoping around itself. Yeah, call it a feature, right, King? King Recycles got it down. No, that's not quite the feature we want. Let's make sure it rotates in the same direction the entire time. Okay, that's not so bad. Okay, so the one thing I have learned is that 1 is a full increment. So that's pretty cool. So this should actually, we'll just make that a 0 to 1, right? That's sun goes all the way around. So now we can make it take a lot longer. We can say, oh, it'll be, you know, a minute per day instead. And suddenly, actually a minute is even still pretty quick. You'll note the shadows are moving pretty fast despite the day taking a relatively long time in comparison to its previous numbers. And Drugged Puppy wants me to put in an actual day's worth of seconds. I don't know if we wanted to go that slow. Let's say, okay, so he's got the full day here for me. That is a day's worth of seconds. Now, I don't actually want it to take 24 hours to do this. So if we were to do this in an hour, we'd have 3,600, right? Let's make it take 5 minutes for a day. I'm not actually going to sit here for 5 minutes because I do like to get other things done. But so that means essentially 2.5 minutes of day and 2.5 minutes of night. So that's not too bad, right? We hit 0.25. I'll push the sun a decent distance. Oh, right, but it doesn't. This time of day marker is not absolute right now. The time of day of the actual sun is not set to that, because we're doing a rotate function, not a set rotation. Rotation. Can I just set a certain amount? Okay, I have an idea. We're going to get the initial rotation in angles. So our rotation is going to be equal to the transform.rotation dot get Euler angles, or 2 Euler angles. Nope, that's deprecated. That's also deprecated. Really? I have set Euler angles. Oh, okay, that's because it is that. Time of day gets added by a certain amount. I actually want to make this information unavailable to anything except the time of day. So I'm going to do a set Euler angles. No, dang it. Set Euler rotation. No, really? Creates a rotation with specified forwards and upwards. No, I want to use something like this. Dang it. the rotation as Euler angles in degrees. Does that have a setter? Please tell me it's got a setter. I'm just curious. Okay, it does. It has a setter. Good, 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 good. So we're going to take the rotation.x, and it's going to be equal to our the time of day times 360, right? If this is Euler angles, as it should be, then this should be the way we handle it. Am I planning on storing the time value? Eventually, yeah. I definitely would like to eventually store time. Yeah, there we go. As I play with time, I also mess with the shadows. So we can actually see it, see the sun going down, seeing the way it catches on everything. And this is a little further than halfway into the day. And then at 1, you can see sun starts to come up again. We can actually even watch our own sunrise. If I switch into game view, I can even watch it throughout pretty much the entire day as it goes upwards through the sky, which is pretty cool. We've got a decent looking piece right now. The only thing going on here is that we've got to take care of the moon coming up, and we've got to take care of the switch at night, specifically when the sun is under the horizon. The thing you'll note, and let's see if I can turn off time for a moment. Directional light, stop it. So at the beginning of the day, you'll note that it's still, the sun is actually pretty, there we go. The sun's pretty low, but there's still a lot of light here. And that's kind of expected to some degree. It just makes me wonder if there's a better way to handle some of this. Especially, I'm going to have to somehow find a way to blend between the night and the day settings in the procedural skybox. Especially if I want a night moon. Alright guys, well it's coming up on 5 o'clock. I have to unfortunately take off. I've got things that need to get done. Not just errands to run, but places to go, people to meet, all that stuff. Thank you for joining me today. If you are joining me for the first time, or really curious what the heck I'm up to and just joined, I am working on a first-person dungeon crawl, trying to get kind of some day and night stuff put in. We will probably finish this up tomorrow if I don't finish it up in my own time. I do have enough features here that I've got, you know, a lifetime of work ahead of me. So we'll see where this gets finished up. I'd like to finish it on stream if I can, obviously. God, this just is pretty. It's working out pretty well. I do need to figure out how to do, the big thing here is getting that night skybox, getting it to shift between day and night. That's really the hard part here. But we'll figure it out and we'll get it get it tossed in next time. Thank you for joining me. If you guys have any questions before I take off, feel free, ask. I don't know what my weekend schedule is quite yet. My weekday schedule is still pretty set in stone. Tuesday through Friday, I do an 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time stream. Monday, I'm actually an hour earlier than that, if you can believe the fact that I'm actually awake at 7 in the morning. We'll see about, I'm still trying to kind of solidify what my weekend stream times are, but for now, it's looking like I'm actually kind of enjoying this too. Starting at 2, going till about 5. Seems to be pretty good so far. We'll see how much how I keep doing this, but definitely I'd like to do something like this again tomorrow. So hopefully, guys, if you hit that follow button, I will see you guys online next time. We can finish off getting this sun and moon into the sky and wandering across it in a somewhat reasonable amount of time, and then we'll go from there. I've got more combat I need to do. We need to add spells. We need to add abilities for classes. We need to do character creation, NPCs you can talk to, treasure chests to open, level up, loot, all kinds of stuff. So there's definitely no shortage of work here. Thank you again, guys. It has been a pleasure, and I will see you all next time around. Take care.